I didn't find out because someone sat me down and told me the truth. I didn't find out because my ex suddenly grew a conscience. And I didn't find out because my sister cared enough to be honest. I found out because of a photo. A single picture that showed up on my phone on a random Tuesday night, right when I was finally starting to breathe again. I was lying on my couch, sweatpants on, hair in a messy bun, scrolling mindlessly the way you do when you're not sad anymore, but not exactly happy either. That quiet in-between stage where you think the worst is behind you. That's when my phone buzzed, a notification from Instagram. I almost didn't open it, but I did, and there it was, my sister, my ex, standing side by side. Her hand on his chest, his arm around her waist. Not a friend's pose, not an accidental angle, not something you could explain away if you tried. They were smiling like they had won something. The caption was short. Hard launch, red heart, hard launch. I stared at those two words like they were written in a foreign language. My brain refused to process them at first. I actually laughed, this dry, confused laugh, because it didn't make sense. My sister didn't date my ex. That wasn't a thing, that couldn't be a thing. I clicked the photo, zoomed in, her nails, the necklace I'd given her for her birthday, his jacket, the one I bought him last winter when he said he was broke but grateful. My stomach dropped. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, sick way. The kind where your body understands something before your mind catches up. I scrolled. Another photo, then at dinner, another, them laughing, another, a comment from her friends. About time, smiling face with hard eyes, about time. I felt my throat tighten, because suddenly the math wasn't matching. My ex and I had broken up 4 months ago, 4 months, and yet these pictures didn't look new. They looked comfortable, familiar, like something that had been growing, not starting. I locked my phone, then unlocked it, then locked it again, like if I stopped looking it would stop being real, but it didn't. I sat there for a long time, staring at my blank TV screen, trying to figure out what hurt more, that my ex moved on, or that my sister moved in. People love to say it's just an ex. But that's never the whole story, is it? Because this wasn't just some random guy. This was the man who sat at my parents' table on Thanksgiving. The man who hugged my sister in our kitchen. The man who promised me loyalty while apparently building something behind my back. And my sister, she wasn't just anyone. She was the person who held my hand after the breakup. The one who said, "You deserve better." The one who told me, "I never liked how he treated you." I remember that conversation clearly now. We were sitting in her car, parked outside my apartment. I was crying, mascara streaking down my face, trying to convince myself I was fine. She handed me tissues. She shook her head, and she said, "Honestly, I never trusted him. Something about him always felt off." I almost laughed when I remembered that, because apparently off meant available. I didn't call her that night. I didn't text. I didn't scream. I did something worse. I stayed quiet. Because shock doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like stillness. I went to bed without dinner, woke up with a headache, and spent the next day moving through the world like everything was normal. At work, I smiled. Answered emails, I drank coffee I couldn't taste, all while my phone kept lighting up. Notifications, tags, messages from distant relatives who apparently thought this was cute. OMG, did you know? Small world face with tears of joy. Guess it was meant to be. Meant to be. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Instead, I turned it off. Because I knew something then, something important. If I reacted emotionally, I would lose. And I wasn't about to lose to two people who already took enough from me. That night, I opened my laptop. Not to cry, not to vent, but to remember. I replayed everything, every weird moment, every excuse, every time my sister suddenly had plans when I wanted to hang out. Every time my ex suddenly got defensive when I mentioned her. Every time he said, "You're overthinking." Of course I was overthinking, that's what they count on. I remembered the night he canceled our anniversary dinner because he was helping her move. I remembered how she posted a story that night with a wine glass tagged at a restaurant across town. I remembered how he came home smelling like her perfume and said, "Must have rubbed off when I hugged her goodbye." I believed him. Because trusting someone you love doesn't make you stupid, it makes you human. But suddenly, the timeline snapped into place like a puzzle I didn't want finished. This didn't start after we broke up. This started while I was still in the picture. And that realization, that's when the sadness turned into something else. Something colder, something sharper. I checked her page again. She'd already limited comments. Of course she had, she knew. She knew how this looked, she knew exactly what she was doing. And then, like she had a sixth sense, my phone buzzed, a text from her. "Hey, I wanted to tell you sooner, but I didn't know how. I hope you understand." I stared at that message for a long time. Understand what? That you crossed the one line families don't cross, that you smiled in my face while sleeping with my past, that you turned my heartbreak into your love story. I typed, deleted, typed again, deleted again. Finally, I wrote nothing because silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. That night I didn't sleep, not because I was crying, but because I was thinking. Thinking about how comfortable they were, how confident, how they clearly believed they'd gotten away with it. And that's when I realized something else. They weren't scared. People who are innocent don't rush to hide comments. People who did nothing wrong don't preemptively justify themselves. They thought time would soften it. They thought blood would excuse it. They thought I'd swallow it the way I swallowed everything else. They were wrong, because this wasn't just betrayal. This was a declaration, and if they wanted to go public, so would I, but not yet. First, I needed to let them think they'd won, because the most satisfying revenge doesn't start loud. It starts quiet. It starts with observation. It starts with letting people reveal themselves fully, and they had no idea what I was about to see. Because the next thing I discovered wasn't just how long they'd been together, it was who knew before I did. And once I saw that, there was no going back.